Want to know what the best rares and mythics are from Hour of Devastation for Cube? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to Life Begins at 20. My name is Mark, and if this is your first time here, thank you for joining me, and if you're interested in learning more about the Cube format, hit that subscribe button below and don't forget to hit the notification bell as well to know when all of the videos are uploaded. So Hour of Devastation has come along, and to be perfectly honest, it hasn't been as great for Cube builders as Amonkhet was, but to be honest, I'm not that disappointed in that because Amonkhet was fantastic for us. So we have a top 5 list here, but we've got a couple of honourable mentions as well, so without any further ado, let's get stuck in. While Black isn't exactly lacking in the board wipe department with the likes of Languish, Yahenni's Expertise and Damnation, Hour of Devastation's brought us something interesting in the form of Bontu's Last Reckoning. A 3 casting cost board wipe is great and can certainly stop your opponents who's had an explosive early game. The downside here is that the lands you've tapped remain so during your next turn, which is really limiting your follow-up play, especially in the early game. So this basically works like the lands have been exerted. Depending on the turn your opponent has had afterwards, or whether you've managed to utilise mana rocks and dorks to limit the number of lands being tapped, determines how costly the board wipe will be for you. I'm not the biggest fan of this, as I'd rather not have the turn off, so for me it wouldn't get in above the previous mentioned 3 plus Toxic Deluge, but it could be worth a further test. And for our other honourable mention here, we have a white creature that has the potential to do so much damage later on in the game, and that is Adorned Pouncer. This double striking 1/1/2 casting cost creature, which is at worst a fencing ace, which is great to use equipment on, has the added benefit of having the new mechanic Eternalize on it, which when it's in the graveyard you can bring it back for 3 and 2 white as a 4/4 double striking creature, which is good at any stage of the game. For me, it didn't make the top 5 list due to the base body basically being a fencing ace, but I will be testing a little further to see how often the Eternalize effect takes place over the course of games. So starting off at number 5, we have a white creature that I've been pretty impressed with in the form of Angel of Condemnation. Here we have a versatile flying 3/3 with Vigilance for 2 casting cost. While I would like 1 extra toughness to get it out of bolt range, I think this card does enough fun things to make up for it, especially in larger cubes. You've got yourself a Flicker Wisp and Banisher Priest merged into 1 card on an evasive body, which I admit gives you lots of options. I really do like versatile cards in cubes, although it can be a little slow. You can look at this as an evasive Eldrazi Displacer for 1 extra mana, but remove the colourless activation cost, which sometimes does feel out of place in cube. While you can't activate multiple times like Displacer, except with abusing it with Evasive Ith, I do think in larger unpowered lists it's a good enough card to look at for a versatile addition to supporting Blink. Definitely works well for taking 2 blockers out of a combat phase or Brave Shenanigans too. While the gods from Hour of Devastation haven't been too exciting for cube builders, although quite frankly they could be incredible for Commander, the Scarab God does give us something a little bit more fun, and that's why it sits at number 4. This is a solid 5/5 for 5 in the Dimir Guild, which keeps coming back unless exiled, has an inevitable feel about it. The self-sufficient nature of the card being an engine to abuse the vast amount of enter the battlefield triggers in cube could provide some really amazing plays. Plus, each 4/4 token is a zombie, so it will affect its upkeep ability, which only gets better if you support a zombie tribal. Definitely could be worth a test. Moving up into the top 3 now, and these are cards which I can expect to see a lot more play in cubes, and ones I'm very excited to play, and the first of which is Nimble Obstructionist. This again is a versatile card for blue. Either we have a 3 power flash creature with evasion that can either be a surprise end of turn creature to attack next turn, or a mid combat removal spell, which is great from a colour you don't expect this from. Or the other aspect of the card is that it's a stifle effect when you cycle it, which also has a wide variety of uses. I wish the stifle was an enter the battlefield trigger instead of when you cycle it, but I think that would have been a little too greedy. Moving up to the number 2 slot now, and he won't be very happy he didn't make number 1, so I'm expecting a little bit of backlash here, and that is the Big Daddy himself, Nicol Bolas, God Pharaoh. If you support a multicolour section in your cube, this will end up replacing the previous one from just being a little easier to cast. His +2 can be great fun when ahead, but don't expect it to hit amazing targets that often, and the +1 is a lot better when the opponent has little cards in hand, but his main threat is his -4. While he's not the best at stabilising the board when he comes into play, plussing him once and then doing 2 lots of his -4, dealing 7 damage each time to the dome, should or most likely be lethal at any stage. His ultimate is largely irrelevant due to this. Overall, I'm more than happy to bring him into my Grixis slot, and I'm sure many others will too. And sitting at the number 1 slot, which will come as no surprise to any of you, is the new Crucible of Worlds on a body. This opens up a lot of options for cube builders to really support graveyard land style decks with the likes of Life from the Loam, Gitrog Monster, Titania, Knight of the Reliquary, and of course Crucible itself. Even if you don't end up going down that route, I'm sure you won't be complaining about being able to replay your fetches, Wasteland and so on, which is fantastic. Yes, being on a body makes it worse than Crucible itself, but I'm sure you won't mind having both in your cube. So there we have my top 5 rares and mythics, plus a couple of honourable mentions as well, which I think may well do some decent work in cubes, and there's definitely going to be some auto-includes there to try and find some space for. Like I said before, Hour of Devastation hasn't been fantastic for us, but there definitely are some options in here for us. So let me know in the comment section below what you think of the list. Is there any cards that I've missed out, or would you change the order of them? Let me know in the comments section below, as I'll be really interested to see what you'll be putting in your cubes. I would just like to take this moment to thank my Patreons of the channel. I can't thank you enough for the help and support that you're giving me. If you'd like to do the same, head over to patreon.com/lifebeginsat20, and there'll be a link in the description below for that as well, where there are plenty of rewards to choose from. With your support, we can really push to make this channel even better. Be sure to check out our sponsor, 5collarcombo.com, for a great range of Magic the Gathering accessories with stunning artwork, plus a great app to draft and create decks on the fly. Use the referral code LifeBeginsAt20 for 5% off. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. With your support, we can really help this channel to grow. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.